Yay!
Hey, hi everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope you're all having an absolutely wonderful week so far. And I hope you're all having a wonderful start to December. It was November last week, so somehow we are here already. Last month, back in November, we hosted our final in-person event of the year, 2025 Rewind, and we had three amazing panelists. We had Romy from Perfect Ted, we had Ray from Rise at Seven, and we had Joanna from Goat Agency. And the goal of our last in-person was to look back, to look forward. What worked this year? What did we hate this year? What have we spotted this year? And it was just, I mean, you guys know I'm like a trend girl through and through. It's all I talk about, big and small. So I thrived. I loved the conversation so much. And I'm always very aware. I moved to London a year ago, so I'm like a city girl now. But I'm aware that not all of you can join me here. Even if you are in London, life is busy. So when we were planning our 2025 rewind, I really wanted to plan something for you guys online as well, wherever you are in the world, of which we would love to know. I know Christina's just popped in the chat asking if any of you are from Canada, but we would love to know whereabouts you are in the UK, in the world. Let us know in the chat because it's always nice to see and hear where you're all from. Now, we had an amazing panel in person, but we have an equally as amazing girly panel today, which I'm so excited about for our 2025 Rewind online too. So, without further ado, I will let these lovely ladies introduce themselves. So, I will come to you first, Georgina.
Hi, I'm Georgina. I am based in Manchester and I am Senior Social Media Manager for Adanola, an up and coming activewear athleisure brand. Before then, I was at Refi Beauty, which is quite a young 5-year-old beauty brand, which is currently all around the globe, sorry, and expanding very fast. So yeah, some super exciting roles in my past. What about you, Christina?
Yes. Okay. So I don't know if any of you have heard about Slate, but I'm coming from Slate. I've been there for the last 8 months now, which is crazy. It feels like I've been there for so much longer. But I'm coming from a TV background, moved into social about a year ago, and it's been a whirlwind. Social is such a crazy space. So yeah, I'm working for Slate. We're an all-in-one content creation platform, and honestly, it's been so fun working in the B2B space. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but here I am. So super fun. But yeah, that's me. And I guess Dana, you can go last.
Hello everyone. Christina, I love Slate by the way. Follow you so much, love your content. And of course I was with Georgina in another panel last night. But yeah, hi everyone. My name is Diana and I am the social media executive at the Folio Society. So I am surrounded by books 24/7. I'm doing content of books 24/7 and I've been in the company for nearly 2 years now and I am a team of two. So it's just myself and my manager and I'm running the day-to-day of the account. So yeah, honestly, I am so tired. I'm so happy it's December and I can't wait to literally switch off because I need it.
We are so tired.
We
Yes.
are so tired.
Tired.
Yeah.
Tired. Can I have like a virtual round of applause in the chat for these amazing ladies? I know that I said in our little speaker room beforehand, but I truly am so grateful for all of your times today. We're not only tired, but we are busy. Q4 is like literally hell. Whether you're a team of one, a B2B team, whether you're living it up at Adanola, it's a busy time of year. So we are so incredibly grateful to have the next hour with you guys. So, you guys watching, I have a few questions for each of these amazing women, specifically focusing on reflecting on what they've done or been up to this year. So, we are talking about B2B, Instagram growth, we're talking about world building, and I have a few others on my list as well. But this is not the Sophie and team show. We want you guys to get involved as well. So any questions you have throughout, if you could pop them in the Q&A box, you should see a button with Q&A at the bottom of your screen. In here, I should have enabled the setting that will let you upvote questions. So if you see a question in the chat and you're like, goodness, good one, I want this asked, thumbs up, it will go to the top and we can make sure that we get through your most upvoted first. And please, while we're chatting, get involved. I can see you guys in the chat already talking about how you love Adanola, Refi, the Folio Society. We have Amy who loves Slate. I love Amy. Amy's awesome on LinkedIn and in our membership. This is a group setting, okay? Are we good with that, guys? Awesome. Good news. We do love Amy Christina. And speaking of Christina, I'm going to come to you for my first question. I live in B2B, I suppose, and I remember even at university that I left 4 years ago, there was this real clear split between like this is what B2B marketing is, and this is what B2C marketing is. B2B is boring. It's corporate jargon. It is stock images. It is white papers that nobody really ends up reading. But you are proof in your 8 months. I did not know you'd only been at Slate 8 months, but you are proof that like it really doesn't have to be that way to be effective. At Slate, you
Yeah.
do things so differently. It is creative, it's entertaining, and people actually want to pay attention to what you do. So I would love to know a little bit more about what you think B2B brands should be doing differently from everything that you have done and learned in your past 8 months at Slate.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, such a good question. You know what? It's so funny to me because like I said, I'm coming from a TV background. So if you asked me a year and a half ago what I thought B2B SaaS was, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, what is B2B? What is SaaS? But obviously I hopped into this world and I learned a lot about like B2B business to business, GTM meetings, revenue, sales, all this kind of stuff. But then, you get down to the basics of it. And B2B is ultimately selling to other people, right? Like that's the core of it. And I guess coming from a TV background, it really helped me because I came into this not with like a B2B white paper mindset. Like I never really even knew what those things were. So that was very helpful for me coming in as like a social person with no context as to like what any of that stuff was. And to really say like, how am I going to market to other social media managers who ultimately would want to use our products? And over the last 8 months, like we've really honed in on community. That's been such a big piece of it. And really just talking to our ICP. Like I think once you talk to your ICP, you figured it out. Like, and like obviously there are those like niches and really understanding the struggles of like your audience. You really want to get into the shoes of your audience and understand what they're struggling with so you can make content related to that. But B2B historically like has been boring. And I think we have this huge opportunity now to tell stories through B2B. And that's been the most exciting part. It's like, how are you going to tell the story of your company? How are you going to use thought leadership in a way that like is engaging and fun? And I know Slate's been really honing in on that with like influencer campaigns and, this whole idea of like logging off. Social media managers are tired and sharing memes, and PLM does this so well already. But another company that I really love and have been following over this last year, have you guys ever heard of Ramp? This Ramp, anybody? So it's like this big, basically it's like a payment platform. And they did this huge stunt in New York City where they brought the Office characters in and they made a huge stunt about like Kevin from The Office, kind of just like doing like trying to file taxes and payments himself. And then Ramp comes in. It's like Ramp can solve all these problems for you. And they really told the story of like, you have this old way of paying for things and now use this new way of paying for things. And they integrated culture and relevancy. And it was so fun to see like how they integrated those two things together to really make such a big viral moment. And truly the B2B brands that are going to win in 2026 are the ones who can tell good stories and can talk to humans. Because at the end of the day, like I'm scrolling on my phone on the toilet. And if I'm going to buy a product, I'm probably going to do it when I see a funny comedic or engaging thing that I'm watching while I'm in the bathroom. You know what I mean? So anyways, that's my take on it. And Slate has been really intentional about building community and building a Slack community and talking to our ICP in a very intentional way.
I also scroll on the toilet, so
We all scroll on the toilet.
not just me, it's absolutely disgusting when you put it down to it and think about it. But I love everything you shared there, and I often think that we think or we assume that the opposite of boring is like the complete other way. We have to be unhinged. Like, how do we be the B2B version of Duolingo or Ryanair? But I feel like what you guys do at Slate is you set so comfortably and happily in the middle. You put education first, but in the most entertaining and easy way. I know that you mentioned there two things. You mentioned like your community group that you now look after, but I would also love to briefly touch on the webinars that you host as well. You
Yeah.
understand your ICP. Outside of content, how are you getting these people involved?
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, my role at Slate is to do very top funnel marketing. So it's bringing people in that are our ICP that eventually would want to use Slate in like their day to day. And my goal is like, how do we bring those people in? And yeah, Sophie, that's a great thing that I forgot about. We host these monthly webinars for social media pros, and sometimes it doesn't have to be unhinged. Sometimes people just want to learn things, and through our webinars monthly, we're bringing in people and social pros that have like really done the work, that have really existed in the social space for a long time and just want to share topics. And over this last year, we've had topics like boundaries in social media and how to level up in your social media career. Um, we've had things like talking about organic social and is it dead? Do we want to talk about it? And the best part about the webinars is like it's really a place that people can come and learn about social because everyone's learning all the time. So we're bringing in these experts that like know the social space that can share their knowledge, but also in the chat, people are like exchanging ideas and talking about what's working and what's not. Because as you all know, Diana, you were saying this earlier, you're a team of two. A lot of people work in these very siloed small teams, and it's very hard to like exchange ideas internally because then you kind of like build an echo chamber. So our goal with the webinars, our monthly Slate webinars, our social club, we call it, is to really allow people to come into our space, ask questions, exchange ideas. B2B learns from CPG and CPG learns from sports and sports learns from fintech and all this kind of stuff because we can really exchange ideas and swap ideas. And that's ultimately been our goal from the get-go. Like, how do we educate and entertain people at the same time so that they can come into our space? And eventually, when they're looking for a solution to their content creation problems, Slate is there because we've already been in their community. And when they figure out what Slate is, they trust us because we've built this community of like thought leadership, excitement, engagement, fun, and really a lot of people have connected through that. So that's really one of the primary ways we've also been building a community as well, to just educate people because it's such an unknown territory, as we all know. Things are switching all the time.
And it's awesome. It's so cool to see, not just because like I feel like it excites me because I'm your target audience, like I get to get involved, but I would love to see more B2B brands facilitating experiences, whether that is through their content, whether that is through less boring white papers. I think webinars are such an underrated marketing tool and tactic as well. So if you guys
Yeah.
are not Slate, I mean,
Thank
Christine,
you.
appearing, we still have 45 minutes together. I'll link everything at the end, but you guys need to check that out for sure.
Thanks so much, Sophie. Yeah. And honestly, just my last thing that I'll say is you've been such an inspiration to me as like how to do really good marketing. And like I said, when I first joined this world, you were the first newsletter I signed up to. So thank you for being an inspiration to me as well in this like social journey that I've been on.
You're gonna make me cry. Stop it, Anna. Me and Christina recently became best friends. We followed each other on Instagram and we were reacting to Stranger Things together. So,
Yeah,
Christina, you're my best friend now, and I love
you
it.
are too. We're best friends.
I'm grateful forever. I'm going to come to you next, Diana. So you work for an independent book publisher, the Folio Society, and books are books, right? I imagine it can be pretty hard to make them flashy, exciting, and sexy. You're a team of two, independent publishing, like you don't have the biggest budgets out there. I know that you have shared online and like something that you are super proud of, and we are proud of you too. This year is growing the Folio Society's Instagram, nearly 100,000 followers in just 18 months, which is, especially considering the state of Instagram, is absolutely amazing. So my question for you, and I would love your insights on how you take something that could feel traditionally pretty niche and make it genuinely exciting on social. How do you bring books to life in a way that 100,000 people now want to follow you and keep up?
Of course. So I think, do you know what? When I came in April last year, well, March last year, our marketing director had done a whole restructuring, and so half the team are practically new. Like we all have the same amount of time in the company, and she said, "I know that Folio has so much potential. I think we were at 200,000 followers last year in March, and she said, I know we haven't reached the audience that we need to. And the thing is that with Folio, we've got really beautiful books. Like we are not being biased, but the amount of craft, the design, and so much expertise that goes into our books by the illustrators, sometimes the authors, if they are still alive, we all come together to create these beautiful editions of your most loved books. And so with that, one of the things that I noticed instantly was that the previous team was only posting like images and you can only see up to a certain extent of the beauty of these books. And I said, do you know what? It might just take just like going into more of a video like first content strategy, because with photo you can only see like one angle, one side of things, like you can't really see too much of it. And so I said, you know what, we've got nearly 200 books in our catalog. My aim is to make one unboxing video of every single book and we're going to post it. And that's exactly what I did. I started doing unboxing videos of the books, showing the illustrations, different angles. Of course it gets to a point where it's like, I don't have anything else to do here. Like it's just the book, but I try to do as much as I can, different angles, different speeds, whatever, just to make it as engaging as possible. And that has been an amazing thing for us. We've had videos go nearly 500,000 views now, bringing in nearly 700 followers. And it's just that, it's just putting, I guess, these beautiful books in front of the right people in the right way. And sometimes it just takes one shift in your strategy. And it was that for us. And then I guess the second thing for us is that we've got an amazing audience. Like we've got an amazing customer base that have loved us for over 75 years. That's how old Folio is. And they have been there with us through and through everything. And so we've got such a big community, which I know a lot of brands may not have. And so we take a lot of pride in that. We involve our community as much as we want to. We are currently trying to build as much as we can with our community, get them a little bit even more involved, but we don't have the resources or facilities to do that just now. But hopefully it'll be something that we touch on in 2026. And we've partnered with so many book creators as well, and they just love us as much as we do, and they are often so like keen just to do a gifting basis. We don't say, listen, you need to post, you need to do this. We just send off the books and they come up with reels, carousels, they tag us in multiple content. And so I can say that we're quite lucky to have that sort of like fan base that we do, that has allowed us to grow that fast basically.
Completely brilliant. I love that approach of, and I think it's so obvious on paper, isn't it? But how often do we sit down, look at our strategy, black and white? This isn't working, so I'm going to do this instead. I feel like we just carry on, and I'm sure for many of you in teams where you may have more stakeholders, it's really hard to have the flexibility and freedom to just, hey, I'm going to do this instead. Would you say that video, thinking of that 100K, would you say that video was like a really big part of that growth plan?
I would say it would be between two things. I think definitely the video, just because I think it has helped us really push certain titles that have been like amazing for us. So one of them is actually, we published a limited edition by Stephen King. Everyone knows the film, and so we did a limited edition of that book. And I think the one of the videos right now is on 500,000 and it's brought in 900 like followers in itself. And I think it's just showing the beauty of the book. Like a lot of the comments that we get are literally like, oh my God, this is like the most beautiful book that I've ever seen. And so, like I said, it can just be that sort of like switch of like, we need to show them like the beauty of these books as much as we can. And secondly, yeah, definitely the partnerships that we've had. So we've collaborated, I think, between creators between 10 to 100K. But we started off quite small because obviously we didn't think that a lot of people would come and work with us with larger followings, but that's not true. And so, yeah, we've worked with them. And I think we're tapping into those niche communities that these micro influencers and creators have. And we're very open to any suggestions. And I think last year someone came to us, like we gifted them a book and they were like, oh, can we do like a giveaway with you guys? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And from that giveaway, I think we've got like 1,000 followers. So we've become very tactical and very grateful for the community that we have. So yeah, I would say those two things really, really works for us.
Brilliant. And well, I mean, Tina too. So well done to you and the counterparts.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
And really cool to hear as well. I like anyone can sell a book, right? And they probably do. Like you've got massive publishing houses out there that are huge competition for you guys. And I love two things. You know what makes you different. One, the beauty of your books, the craftsmanship of these pieces, and your community. I had the joy. I've been on webinars all week, guys. I don't know if this ever happens to you, but like everything always comes at once. So I did a 4 hour lecture on Tuesday. I did a 1 hour webinar followed by a 90-minute webinar yesterday. And what was really interesting about all of those sessions is they were all for different audiences, for different people, different commitments. And really nailing a USP was something that came up so clearly through all of them. And interestingly, was actually a real pain point for so many, especially the workshops I was hosting. Like, okay, well, I sell books, everyone else sells books. Literally nothing makes me different. But there is always going to be something. You just have to find it. And speaking of doing things differently, Georgina, you have worked at Refi and now Adanola. I know in your introduction, someone said in the chat, like, wow, like what a portfolio so far. It's absolutely amazing. And they are two brands that are absolutely flying, not just right now, but I feel like they have been for such a while. What I think is really cool about both brands, aside from being like a fan and a customer of both them, but also a huge fan of you, as you know, is that neither brands really hop on trends in a traditional sense. It's not all about trending audios, the very demure, very mindful moments. You lean so heavily into lifestyle instead, almost building a world around the brand rather than just selling a product. I would love to know why you think that approach works so well. And do you ever feel the pressure to like jump on these trends? How do you resist? And how do you and your team, either now or in previous teams, approach that?
Great question. And I think everyone, when you work in social, feels pressure to jump onto trends because you are showing up in a cultural moment at that time. And it's quite easy engagement because people are engaging with it, aren't they? Like you see it and right, yeah, I might get X amount of likes on that, but you are just part of what can be a 1 day trend. Nobody within that time is going to realistically a week down the line go, oh, do you know what? I remember that brand that actually took part in that apology letter trend, for example. I think we all only probably remember that for the wrong reasons. But at both brands, both Adanola and Refi, we were always trend aware but not trend led. I think there is a balance between showing up in something that makes sense for your brand and that might act in a certain way or be in a bit of an affiliated way to your brand, which might make sense. But I think there's also ways where you look at and you go, that does not make sense for that brand. Like, why have they done that? And I think you want to do it where it makes sense, personally, and that is my opinion. And they create reach, but I don't think they create a feeling. And I think that's where both brands stand when it comes to trends. And I think that's always been a good guiding pillar for the team when we say, are we just jumping on that because we know it's going to get a kind of like a quick reaction versus is that actually showing what we want our brand to be? And I do think consistency, builds connection, and being recognizable for a tone of voice or a series or a format goes a lot longer than just kind of one viral trend that you might hop on. And I do think, especially I know people say like Adanola and Refi have been around for a long time. I mean, Adanola a lot longer, to be honest, than Refi, but Refi is only 5 years old. And I think one of the things that rang true with them is that Jenna and Jess both said they wanted that brand to be like around years to come when they have kids. They want their kids to be like, oh my God, that's my mum's brand. It's really cool. And I think when you just jump on trends, you're not creating timeless content. And that is one thing we are set on especially at Adanola, is we want to live on and not just for a moment in time. And I think that really helps guide us when we're building strategy and deciding what we want to dip our toe into and what we maybe want to stay away from. I do think for some legacy brands, for example, like I love M&S's TikTok. I don't know if you've seen it, but I love the fact that M&S Romford and whoever else are creating hype around that brand by joining into trends. I think it's amazing because there's only so many times you can make M&S kind of fun or like talk about Percy Pigs, etc. But it's giving a bit more depth behind their brand. It's showing the real people that are in the supermarkets. And it's a fun and engaging way, which I can imagine a lot of these legacy brands that have been around for 15, 20 years, it's hard to make it exciting. And I think their social teams are doing an amazing job. But I think it all kind of leads back to what is right for your brand, and also just making sure you're consistently asking yourself, is this how I actually want to show up and be perceived?
So we had, I don't know how many of you guys know Beth Thomas. She was at Deliveroo, then TikTok, frankly, and now she co-owns and co-founded an agency called Slate. Someone said in the chat, love Beth. I could talk about Beth forever. I recently got my hair cut. Woohoo! And the second the lady snipped all my hair off, I looked in the mirror and I was like, I look like Beth Thomas, and I absolutely freaking love it. She's amazing. Beth Thomas on LinkedIn, if you guys don't follow her. We had the joy, Bob inspired by Beth, it's true. We had the joy of hosting her in our webinar series last month in our membership, the Insiders Club. And she did a session called Social Media Marketing Needs a Factory Reset. And it was like the biggest mic drop ever. For you guys that are on the club and haven't seen it, it's on the website. For those of you interested, doors open in January. So I'll keep you posted on all of that. We have a lot of fun. And one thing she said that I've been quoting to everyone, very similar to what you're sharing, Georgina, was this question of, are you getting impressions or are you making an impression? So good. And as you said, there are some instances where you can do both. M&S, they do both. But if you're only being led by the former, then that's not what builds brand long term. So awesome answer. It's always so cool to hear how these like really awesome brands, it is so cool to hear what you guys do behind the scenes as well. So thank you so much for sharing. Back to you, Christina, for my next question.
Let's do it.
You mentioned in our first question about you guys, B2B at Slate, leaning into influencer marketing, which I feel like is pretty new for the B2B scene. I actually shared a post yesterday on Instagram called LinkedIn is cool now. And it's funny actually because I'm still getting comments on it with people like, it's not, I hate it. LinkedIn sucks so much.
No, LinkedIn's cool.
It is so cool. Also, like, if you don't know, get to know. Like,
I know. Yeah.
get to know.
Whatever. We don't want to make it popular. Let's keep it for a little bit longer.
It's cool, but for us.
Yeah.
And no one else can join. Apart from you guys on the call, you can obviously join us.
Yeah.
You recently hosted a influencer marketing campaign. Instead of celebrating the influencers, you actually invited them to nominate social media marketers behind the scenes, and you sent out your digital detox kits. I think it was one of your posts, or it may have been a press release somewhere, that you got 500,000 impressions on that campaign, right? Which is absolutely amazing, especially on a platform like LinkedIn as well.
Yeah,
Those
exactly.
people, right? They are engaged and they are interested.
Yeah.
How are you thinking about influencer marketing differently? And what made you take that risk of doing something unconventional, right? You could be sending a box to someone that's never going to post it. It's never going to be seen. What was the behind the scenes on that one?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So we had never tried influencer marketing before. We had seen some big brands, people with like big budgets behind them do it. And we're like, how can we do this as Slate? And the thing that we were seeing is a lot of these big brands were approaching influencers. You know, influencers deserve to be approached because they have built the audience intentionally and on purpose. And it's so good to reach out to influencers. But we thought, people are starting to get tired a little bit of only influencers getting things. So it's like, how can we actually think about our ICP? Like, what is their problem? Our ICP is social media managers. What is their problem? They're chronically online and they want to be offline. How can we solve that? We thought of some tools, the brick. So it's one of those tools that you could put on your, I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but you can put it on your fridge. You can tap your phone on it and it kind of bricks your phone so it becomes just a tool. Love the brick. I use it every day before bed and it's amazing. Anyway, so we thought about like these problems that social media managers experience, doom scrolling, not getting enough time offline, and then we curated a box with that. And then we had to decide, who are we going to give these to? We went through like a ton of ideas actually before the box. We're like, should we give people Meta glasses or should we spend our entire year's budget on this? And then we really ultimately decided the best impact that we can make is to celebrate the people who are actually doing the work behind the screen. So we thought, why not tap in both influencers and the people that aren't influencers, the people that don't have time to curate their own profiles. There's a lot of people out there that are working 60 plus hours a week that don't have time to curate their own LinkedIn profile, personal brand, that don't have time to curate their own Instagram. So we said they deserve a box too. So then we went to our influencers and we said, let's nominate some people. Let's get people's bosses and coworkers and people who see the grind that they go through every day, and let's get them to nominate them. So that made the first wave of impressions because you got these bosses and CMOs saying this person deserves a box, and it was really heartwarming to see. So that was our first wave of like all of those influencers posting and all the comments, and the 500,000 impressions doesn't even include the comments and everything that was in all of these posts. And then 2 weeks later, we actually collected their addresses, collected a few people's addresses and sent them so I would DM everyone and be like, hey, you get a box. And people were so ecstatic. And then 2 weeks later, they got the box. And I'd say that actually 9 out of 10 people who got a box posted about it, which great for us because great brand awareness. But also these people were saying like, this is my first PR box I've ever gotten. I can't believe that I'm an influencer now. And it's like you get these people excited who are running these social media accounts that never get the fame that they deserve. So it's kind of like a two-pronged approach. So going forward, our goal is to honestly celebrate our community. How do you celebrate the people that are doing a really good job? And not only that, like how do you make them brand aware? So we wanted to send them digital detox box, but in each box, we also had a little note about what Slate is so that they could read it and they could think about us. And it's not like a thing where they're like, cool, Slate's so awesome, but we don't know what they do. So something we learned from that campaign is we actually do need to target some lower funnel campaigns in the future and try to find ways to make it exciting in the future. But that top funnel campaign was really great for brand awareness. So that was incredible. And then from there, it honestly, our approach to influencers is to build a community of influencers and people that are in our ICP. So influencers and the people that use our product, and tap them both in, customers, people that know about us, and just get a whole group of people excited about what we're doing and really tap into those people instead of just solely influencers because they have impact, but the people that are going to trust each other are the people that are using and doing the job on a day-to-day basis. So that's kind of like how we approached that whole thing. That was long-winded, but yeah.
It was so cool. And I also loved seeing people in my feed receiving their boxes and posting it. Like, one, I think the community vibes on LinkedIn are unmatched. Like, Amy Watts in the chat. I know we've already expressed our love for Amy, but shout out again. I know Amy hit 10K on LinkedIn this weekend. We love to see it. But like every time I see an announcement like that on a platform like LinkedIn, I absolutely love it. Like I feel like people are so there for one another. So I think leaning into that energy was just awesome, and really, like you said, like it builds brand awareness, but I feel like it makes me love you guys as a brand even more to facilitate those moments.
No, it definitely built this like affinity towards our brand where people like a lot of people are saying Slate gets it. And that's the goal. Like we want people to know that we built the product because we were people in this field. Like our founder was a social media manager himself. He understands the pain and the grind of consistency in posting. So our goal is to really tell people like we're there with you. We're not just someone trying to sell to you, but we're there with you and we're trying to actually help you. So yeah, going forward in 2026, we have some influencer plans. And we're excited about them. We have some different ways we're tapping into them, but to be determined. So follow along because we have some fun things coming.
Stay tuned. We're all going to be like creeping on your LinkedIn, like notifications on, like, where's my box, guys? We love it.
Maybe more boxes, we'll see.
We partnered as a community with Vengage, and I think I'm saying it properly, and I probably should know, seeing as we partnered with them. Completely like unpaid basis. We have a wonderful woman called Jay in our membership who works for a company, Vengage, Vennngage. So I'm thinking I'm saying that correctly, guys. And they are like paying members of our community, like it was a completely like non-contractual partnership. But I feel like they did something really similar with us in a way that the goal was just participation and showing off other people. Every December, every year, they release like a marketing and design trends report. And I remember Jay got in touch and that she was like, we're doing it again, but like we would love this community to contribute. And all we did was like put it in an email, sent it to our members, and like the guys that got involved would like say they're interested. The team got in touch. And we had like 20 community members have like 1, 2, 3 pages each in this absolutely amazing report. And what the team did as well was they obviously released the report, but they sent everyone that got involved like their own little picture to reshare if they wanted to. And it reminds me of something that I wrote about years ago, and I was taught a lot at university called the IKEA effect. And you guys, if you in marketing, you've likely read about it, and it's that if you help build something, you value it so much more. There was also some studies around like in restaurants versus home cooked food, and people actually prefer food they've cooked themselves because they value it. They taste and they understand the effort that went into it, so that when they consume it, they love it so much more. So even if you don't have the budget, you don't have the time to curate amazing boxes with bricks in and send it out to them. Like my challenge off the back of what Christina's saying is what can you do to encourage participation?
So
How can
good.
you create something shared? And I'm actually doing our first ever influencer campaign for PLM in January. And you guys will see so much more soon. But the goal is exactly that, inspired by people like you, Christina. So I love that insight. It's so cool.
I love what you said, inspire participation. You don't have to have the biggest budget. And also tap into people and ask them for things when you're doing a campaign. Because a lot of companies will want to, help you out and send you things for like, or a partnership. Like we partnered with Brick for those and they sent us the bricks in order to send those. So huge thing where you can tap in and just ask people. They're willing to pop into campaigns that you're doing if you don't have a big budget. Just ask.
If you don't ask, you don't get. That's what my mommy always said. Tip from Jane. Amazing. Right, Diana, I'm back to you. You are like my personal branding queen. I feel like we've known each other for so long, right? I don't know when we first met, but I think it was.
I remember because I actually had a business that I built in 2020 and I came to you for I think that's when you started doing one-to-ones and we had a one-to-one in 2020. So I've been following you since then.
We've been in a relationship for half a decade, guys. Serious now. I have loved watching your journey, not just as a marketer and what you're doing at the Folio Society, but as you. I feel excited every time I see you sharing that like you're speaking somewhere and like you are not just speaking virtually now, like you are on real bigger stages, right? So cool to see. We keep hearing that personal branding is the new CV, and like I personally hate the term personal branding. I could talk about that forever, but this is not my time to shine. We keep hearing that, hiring managers are checking your LinkedIn before they even look at your application. You are beautifully and really passionate about helping marketers build their careers. So for someone who knows they should probably be putting themselves out there more, many of these guys, but maybe might feel a bit cringe about it or just doesn't know where to start, what is your advice? How do you build a personal brand that actually helps your career?
Do you know what? When I was looking at this question, I actually didn't know what angle to take because I think there's so much that can be covered, and I think we will all be cringed out, and we'll all think, oh, I really don't want to put myself out there. Everyone at work calls me the LinkedIn queen because I'm literally the only one aside of the CEO and our finance director that actually post on there. And they're always like, oh, I want to post about this award that we got within ecom, but I just can't. I'm, I don't know what to say. I don't know like what to do. And I think sometimes it's just that people sometimes just don't know how they want to come across. And the most important thing is to come in the most like, I'm not going to say authentic, so let me just rewind because I know we've stuffed that word authentic, but it's just coming in the best possible way that's true to you. I think all of the posts that I've done from the moment that I started posting on LinkedIn, way back before I positioned myself as as a marketer, has always been from my own personal experience and what I want to post, and that's true to myself. So I started posting in 2021 because I was going to go into freelancing. I freelanced for 13 months and I built an audience from that. But then when I started at the Folio Society, that's when I realized, okay, what am I going to do with this? I've got a platform here. What do you want to talk about? And so I had the same thought. I was like, well, everyone talks about social media marketing. What am I going to talk about? Like, I don't have anything to add. And the truth is that we all have so much to add. There's so many people out there that number one want to get into social media marketing and they need your advice. They want to hear your experiences. They want to hear what's a mistake that you've done that maybe they can learn from, and from your experiences. And secondly, there's still so many people out there that don't work in marketing that have no idea how social media even works. I feel like one of the things that I've realized is that we live in a bubble right now. Like we can all hear, oh yeah, this trend, that trend, but the truth is that let's look outside a little bit, because there's so many people that just generally don't know what the hell social media marketing is. And so I think that's what I always lead with, that your story, your truth, what you've gone through is so unique to yourself that, let's share that, let's pass it down, because why are we gatekeeping information? Why are we gatekeeping what we've learned so that others can also join in and, just grow within their careers? And I think that's always my motto.
Love it. You are incredibly inspiring to not just me, but so many of these guys watching. I don't know if you can see the chat, but we've put, well, everyone else did, and then I copied them. We've put loads of crown emoji for our.
Thank you.
I am, to add on what you've shared, the best piece of advice that I was ever given when it comes to knowing what to post. Think of something and then write the how or the why. Your job at the Folio Society. How? Why? The last campaign that you hosted. How? Why? The webinar that you attended. How? Why? The best content answers a question. I used to do personal brand management as a freelancer back in ye old days, like 2 years ago. And something that I used to do with my clients was I would just write a list of questions that I wished I knew about them, ask it, write down the answers, turn it into a post. So if you guys have anyone in your network, a friend, a LinkedIn friend, someone at work who can just ask you questions, get curious about what you do, the way to write is to answer a question.
I'm going to copy that because I think that simplifies it all. And yeah, I'm going to take that. See, we're all
She's
learning
got
here.
pen and paper ready.
Yep, always got pen and paper to hand, always.
No, awesome. But I get it. I get it. I've been writing for 5 years now, and I know that you've been writing for 4 years, and it gets easier, but also in a sense it doesn't. I don't know what I don't have anything scheduled ever, so we're in it together, guys. Amazing. Right, I'm on to my final question before I have a quick fire question for all of you. And then guys, by the way, if you do have any questions throughout, if you could pop them in the Q&A box, we should have around 10 minutes or so to get through your questions. For the sake of ease, if you are able to, I would love it if you could direct your question to somebody so that I can kind of pose it to them rather than guess who might be best to answer your question. So Q&A box, if you're able to, let me know who you want me to ask it to. And also, again, you can upvote questions. So if there's one in there that you would love asked, thumbs up it, and we can roll through it. So back to you, Georgina. When you are building a kind of lifestyle fast brand like the Fi or Adanola, the content feels like a vibe, a world, and an aesthetic. But at the end of the day, you have a product to sell. feel like it is so easy, and I have to like check myself sometimes when I'm writing about this sort of world building, like brand first, world first, but like we're marketers that have benchmarks and expectations, and like a business needs to make money to pay your salary at the end of the month. So what do you and the team do to integrate products into lifestyle content that feels natural and not forced? Like, is there a good balance between brand world building and actually driving sales? What does that look like for you guys behind the scenes?
I think that's such a good question, and I think it's actually so difficult to get it right. I think people are more and more clued up when it comes to marketing, and no one wants to be sold to anymore. And I almost think content alongside that has almost had to become clever. Like people are really having to be innovative when it comes to the content they're delivering, really know their audience and meet them where they're at. I think obviously like back in the day, people used to be able to kind of evoke emotion by people coming into store, trying stuff on. You'd picture yourself, whether you're trying on a bag, a dress, anything like that. And I think you would kind of immerse yourself in a brand world that way. Obviously, so many brands now are fully online. So you're having to build that brand world in a digital way. And I think the way that both Refi and Adanola have done that is they've kind of recognized who their audience is, and they've realized that the girly pop loves lifestyle. She wants to be able to imagine herself with a coffee, wearing an Adanola set with her friends and a handbag and looking stylized and beautiful and gorgeous. So that's something we've kind of had to play into, because it's our subtle way of kind of putting that vision into your head that that could be you. And it's just relatable content. I think one type of relatable content that used to be ever so big was kind of like meme style content. Back on Facebook days, everyone was tagging, sharing each other in memes. And that's kind of evolved for certain brands, which are a bit more stylized into this lifestyle kind of content. We're not forcing a hard sell. We're not saying to you, like, buy this right now. We are just posting something which is a vision of our brand. And I think it does give you that emotional attachment to a brand, and why someone might want that product before they've actually bought it. And we found this at Refi. We would kind of almost like market who we were as a brand, the fact we were community led. You would come to our events and you would feel something. Some of the people that came to our events hadn't actually tried Refi before. They just wanted to be part of the world we were in. And then they came on to try the makeup and really get involved and become a brand fan. So it's almost like the branding sense is kind of a bit of a taster of what you can get. And then once people are hooked in, like they're learning about why the brand is so amazing. And I think lifestyle content really does that for us.
I love it. I mean, I loved Adanola's feed before you, but I love it even more with you. It is the ultimate cool girl, and I like totally see that. Like I almost look and step in, like, well, I want to be that girl that goes to Pilates and looks good on a Sunday morning. And if I can do that through your feed, well, how much more can I have that if I can have that in my real life? So I love it. I mean, it looks good. The products are great, guys. So you've sold me. My final question, and this one's for all three of you, and I'll come to you first, Christina, is that we've talked a lot about what has happened and what's working right now, but I would love to look ahead to 2026, which isn't too far away. I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was saying, like, I vividly remember 2009 New Year's Eve, and I wore like 2010 glasses. I was like 12 years old. And now somehow we're in 2026. So if you're tripping out like I am right now at this conversation, we are absolutely in it together.
Tripping out. Yeah.
Tripping out. Christina, to you first, and then I'll let you hand off to the other girls. What is one trend or shift that you think is actually going to matter in 2026? What is worth our attention next year?
Yeah. I know that this was like a prediction, but I really think that we're headed in this direction. I said it in the comments earlier, and Diana's already doing it with her community. Like, community is going to matter infinitely. we're being like content is coming at us infinite. Like we are inundated with content every day, everywhere, on our phones, on our TVs, new shows, new content, new Instagram pages. It's a lot. So what's really going to matter is not virality anymore. It's going to be community and fostering that community really well. So I believe the title community manager will be a very hot title in 2026. And a lot of people are going to start hiring for community managers. And they're going to be paying a lot for that because community is going to drive your brand, whether it's CPG or B2B. And if you can foster that relationship in the comments, on LinkedIn, through Reddit threads, through all these private communities like WhatsApp, if you can foster that and build that really well, you're going to stand out above every other company who isn't already doing that. And that's my prediction and kind of like hypothesis for what I've been seeing happening. We're just going to lean into it a lot more next year. So I will pass it to Georgina.
So I would say mine is the return to long form. And I think that is being seen with almost, it kind of goes along with the fact that people want more connection. And I think people want more depth as well. I think people are sick of just scrolling mindlessly and being part of a doom scroll. And I think we're seeing this in the form of, for example, Substack. Like that is a version of long form. It is just long form reading. And also I saw the update about Reels now being up to 20 minutes, which is crazy. Even though they're still saying 3 minutes is like the ultimate or whatever. But I just think we've gone full circle on the whole long form thing. And I see that coming back. I also think, obviously, YouTube, there's been the rise of the comfort creator. People are turning to that more than TV. And it all just kind of makes sense. I think people are trying to escape to their own worlds. So, yeah, that's my prediction. What about you, Diana?
Similar to definitely long form. I never used to watch YouTube, and now I do, which is insane. And I think the person that started for me to watch YouTube was Grace Andrews. I know we all love her vlogs on a Friday, so that's how I got back to YouTube. And Christina, 100%. I think community is going to be so big, and hopefully, is something that at the Folio we'll be able to do. Hopefully, we'll get someone to come in and do community management because I think it's very important. I think for myself, and I'm not sure if anyone went to the PLM event in real life, but I support what Ray does. Obviously, he works at a social search agency, and I 100% believe that social search is going to be very big. It's already big on TikTok, and we have seen Instagram follow suit in that. Obviously, they're already publishing public account content into search engines, but I think it's going to be even bigger. And I think they're just working behind the scenes to give us more data and to also make the platform a little bit more searchable. I think that's one thing that Instagram is still working on. I still don't think it's 100% there, but I think it's something that is going to creep up to us. And then who knows, we're going to be reporting on, oh, how searchable is our content very, very soon. So that is my take for the next year.
I love all of it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I feel like Michael Scott when I get excited at all of your predictions. I just love future forecasting. I mean, my whole Instagram grid is just me yapping about what I think is coming next and probably panicking you all and overwhelming you, but in a good way, I hope. So I agree with each and every one of those, and I love that all of them are like they're so tangible. Like, guys, these are things that hopefully you can go away and actually do. We have 5 minutes and we do have a few questions in the chat. So I will just start from the one that I see at the top, which is from Francesca. And Diana, I'm going to give this to you, but if this isn't a fit, feel free to hand it off. Reason being, I know that when you joined your team, it was a new team and you had lots of new ideas. So I'm imagining you might have some thoughts for this one. And the question is, how do you deal with difficult leadership when it comes to your work? Sometimes I feel like it's difficult to push back because everyone has an opinion about social media and doesn't necessarily take on my expertise.
Course. So that's something that I'm working on myself, and I actually said it in a talk that I get very scared when I have to go up there and challenge either leadership because leadership always have something to say. But I've got a really good example. It was actually when obviously Threads has come about, and our marketing director said, "Yeah, Folio needs to be on Threads," and me and my manager looked at each other and we said, "I don't think that's the right idea. Like we asked her, why do you want to be on Threads? And she said, oh, because everyone's on it. We were like, well, number one, we don't have the resources because it's just me doing the content. And number two, if we are going to be on a platform, we're just going to be repurposing content that isn't tailored to the platform, and it's just not going to be beneficial. Like, why are we posting on there, or what are we going to gain from it? And you can't just say, oh, because everyone's posting on there, because that's not really tangible and we can't really put that on the report. And so my manager, obviously, she led most of the challenging, but I learned so much from that, and I'm still learning because it's not easy. It's not easy having to go up there, challenge, I don't know, your CEO, your marketing director, or senior leaderships, and it's something that you will learn as you go along. And sometimes it just means getting the balls and saying what you think, but it takes practice. So that's my take on it.
Great answer. And I love that you kind of went back with evidence, like, well, this is your idea, but one, we don't have time. I can tangibly prove that. And two, like, it doesn't work for us. This does. And you likely have a big bunch of data to prove your decision making as well. So like, I think leading with that evidence as well. Job well done. Awesome. Question for you next, Christina, if that is okay. And this is a LinkedIn question, so I hope you like this one. And this is, what types of posts do you feel are performing best on LinkedIn right now? Video, carousels, or just generally when you can provide a certain value?
Yeah. You know what? I think that's such a funny question. And I do love the question, but I think it can be framed differently. I feel like what type of content, it really depends. Sometimes it's images, sometimes it's video. You never know what the LinkedIn algorithm is going to do. Okay. Just like confusing. What I think is best is to continue testing all the formats all the time. And the reason I say that is honestly, video is not performing that well, for sure not. But what I know about video to be true is that people see my face and they remember me more than if I don't post a video at all. I post content. Sometimes it's a meme. Memes perform really well. Sometimes I post really informative insights. Sometimes I just share what I'm learning. Sometimes I ask questions. Sometimes I post a carousel. I've really been channeling humor on my page. But I think the only way to actually know what works for you is to get in the comments, try every format you can, see what works, test it out, look at your last year of content, see what worked really well, try that in a different form. Because really, the only really way to test properly and A/B test properly is to try one piece of content in multiple ways, not try different types of content all the time, but like see what performs. Like if it was a text post, how can I turn that into a video? If it was a video, how can I turn that into carousel? And see what performed well, and then try it again with different types of content. So yeah, it's a good question. I just feel like we need to be testing all formats all the time. And maybe that's not what you want to hear because that's really exhausting, but that's really the only way to actually understand what your community wants to see from you. So yeah.
I agree. Yeah, depends what you want that piece of content to do, right? And like, what is good performing anyway? What do you want good performing to be? Awesome answer.
Exactly, yeah.
A final question for you, Georgina, and then we will say goodbye to all of you. And I'm sad I'd keep you here forever. But this question's from Zoe, and it's a really interesting one. So for Georgina, what is the current focus on social media at Adanola these days? Video content, carousels, or high quality images? Do you work on a trial and error basis with strategy? And how do you recommend you brand a service as opposed to a product? Does that make sense? So there's kind of like two questions in the one.
Okay, well, I'll start with the first one. We current focus on social for Adanola. So we have a different approach per channel. We like to say Instagram is our shop window. It's our highest following account, and we recognize that is kind of one of the main entry points that most people have to our brand, and we really want that to show up in the best way possible. And really represent who we are as a brand. Then we have TikTok, that we like to say is our personality. It's a bit of a newer channel. Instagram was kind of like the main channel for a very long time, and TikTok is still quite new to the team. So we are consistently testing and learning in there, finding what our audience likes. We have Pinterest as well. which kind of goes without saying we're a very Pinterest-led brand. So that is something we are consistently working on and developing over the next year. And then we are completely dipped our toe into YouTube Shorts for now. And we're exploring kind of like what YouTube looks like for us at the moment, going into next year. But each channel represents something different for us. And in terms of formats, we are consistently testing and learning what is going to work for us. We report on a weekly and a monthly basis. And when I say 1 month, Reels could do really well for us, and then the next month they absolutely tank, it is consistently different. And that is why we are always just testing, learning, testing, learning. And then what was the other question? Sorry. Let me just find it.
It was, I will also help you try to find it because I clicked off of it. Oh, I fear I got rid of it from the chat.
Oh, no, don't worry. Oh, so yeah, sorry. The work on a trial and error basis with strategy. We have the same strategy, top line, which is like the same common goal for our social team. However, we consistently optimize the things below that. We may change the strategy in relation to what is working, or it depends on business goals, but we do keep to the same overall arching strategy. And then how do I recommend you brand a service as opposed to a product? I think obviously I've never done this before, so I'm just speaking from like a marketer's brain and a bit of a social girly brain. But I think there's different ways you can do that. Depends what the service is, for example. I think if you're wanting to go from like a search perspective and maybe have more fun with it, TikTok's a great place for that. And I think you can really play on that. Social proof is a massive one when it comes to services. So how you're bringing that to life across maybe Instagram or even TikTok is dependent on you. But I also think it's about choosing what the best social media platform is for your audience, because when it's a service, what is that service doing? How is that going to best represent what you're doing? And does it make sense for your audience? Is your audience even on that social platform? And I think it's really just kind of nailing those key, like who, what, where, why, before kind of executing that. I hope that's answered your question.
That's a great answer. And you know what I mean, I loved everything you said, but Reels might perform so well 1 month, but the next month they might be a total dud. And one, it is wonderful to hear that from like a brand that is smashing it. Like, Adanola could be included in every social media roundup ever because you guys are awesome and it looks good and on paper the metrics look amazing. But how comforting to know that like, okay, well, it's not just us. We all have those months. And also that like just because it didn't work 1 month doesn't mean it needs to go. It doesn't have to be acted on. Like it's a long-term play. I think that's a really amazing reminder.
Yeah, and one thing I've always had stuck in my mind, which TikTok once said to me actually, was you are not just competing against other brands, you're competing against every other person in TikTok. So if there is something going on in the world, or if there's just a sudden shift and surge in people posting, you're not just competing against other followers and other people, it's literally every single person on TikTok. So things are always going to be fluid and changing, and like not to take it to heart.
Absolutely. It's brilliant advice. I can't believe the time has flown so quickly for our last webinar of 2020. Oh, we got through it, guys. Ladies, I cannot truly thank you enough for your time. I have loved learning from each one of you and like how wonderful it's been for each of you to bring like your own experience and your own stories. So I loved it. Guys that have joined
So
us,
fun.
so fun.
I had so
Thank
much fun.
you for spending time with us. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching on the replay, we hope that you've enjoyed catching up with us. We hope you've been cozy, you've got your tea, hopefully you're in front of the Christmas tree. But until next time, guys, we hope to see lots of beautiful roundups on LinkedIn. If you want to tag us, we would love it. You can start your LinkedIn careers early, boys and girls. But until next time, I hope you have a lovely holiday season, Christmas season, Happy New Year, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you so much,
Thank you
guys.
so much,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone. So fun.
Bye.
See y'all.